All walkthroughs are created equal, most of the time. In this video, I'm going to tell you what you can look out for, what you should look out for on this very specific type of walkthrough that is completely different from all the rest. So with that said, let's get into it. Okay guys, so here's the thing. First and foremost, walkthroughs. What is it? Why are they helpful? Why are they necessary? Okay, so the walkthrough is the point where you, the cleaning company, meets with the decision maker, the owner, or the other representative of the business who can go ahead, give you the green light, sign a contract for you to now take over cleaning for that specific business. During this walkthrough phase, this is when you're actually coming up with all of the scope of work. This is when you're finding out all the areas and things that need to be cleaned. Now that in itself is going to be universal, right? And I'm speaking specifically for commercial, right? I'm not an expert when it comes to the residential side. I've done a couple of residential things, enough to know that residential is not for me, but I'm gonna assume that, you know, the walkthroughs with commercial and the walkthrough with residential, there are a lot of similarities. There are probably more similarities than differences, but for the sake of this video and for me in my position, I'm strictly talking about commercial, okay? So now that we've established, you know, what the actual walkthrough is, let me tell you why they're not always created equal. You know, if you're gonna go do a walkthrough inside of a dental office or inside of a bank or inside of, you know, a car dealership or, you know, a school or a daycare center, that walkthrough is pretty much going to be the same. Yes, there are specific questions that you have to ask each one of these different, you know, niches or different businesses. There's specific questions that you're going to ask that don't necessarily apply to the next. So an example of a question that you would ask, it would be, let's say for example, we're talking about dental offices, right? If we're talking about dental offices, a question that you should ask is, hey, so do you want us to include mopping the base of the operatory chairs while we're doing this? Is this something that you would like to have dusted? That question is very specific and very particular to a dental office. It's not the same. You know, inside of a daycare, they don't even know what an operatory is. It doesn't line up. So there are specific questions. Inside of daycares, there are going to be things where, you know, there are lots of little kids. Hey, do you want us to include wiping down all of the glass doors to remove all smudges and fingerprints? Is that something that you would like to have included? More than likely, they're gonna say yes, but that doesn't apply to maybe a chiropractor office. It's not something that you would ask because it doesn't apply. But outside of those little details, the grand scope of things is pretty much gonna be the same. Also, it doesn't necessarily matter the time of day when you go in and you do these walkthroughs at all of the types of businesses that I just listed. Now, here is the wild card, right? And this, I'm giving you something that I learned, and I learned this the hard way. I'm telling you this so you don't actually have to go through it. And it brought up, you know, this memory because I just took on an account that's kind of similar. It's similar to what veered me away from this particular niche that I'm about to talk about, okay? So guys, if you're still with me, go ahead and hit the like button right now. I'm about to give you some information that can save you a lot of time and a lot of energy. And also, you know, this is a very, very you know, profitable niche if you can get into it and get into it correctly and charge the right amount. So what am I talking about? The niche that I'm talking about is going to be bars and nightclubs. This is why this is so different. Now, when you go in, there's no difference as far as how you ask the questions or going in to figure out the scope of work once you get to the actual walkthrough. There is no difference. But this is where you have to be. You absolutely have to be very careful. And what I'm talking about is the timing on which you go view these places, okay? When you go and you view a daycare center or a dental office, doesn't matter what time. But when you go and view a nightclub or a bar, it absolutely matters the time. Now, obviously, they're not gonna have you come in while all of their patrons are there, people are drinking, and they're not gonna have you come in at that point. But it's so important that you make the appointment to come in after everyone is already gone. Not necessarily, 4 o'clock in the morning, but let's say, okay, let's say for example, if the bar's most popular night is on a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. Hey, get there on Monday morning. I wanna see what this place looks like before it's been cleaned. That's gonna make so much of a difference when you actually go ahead and submit the proposal. Now I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna tell you this now, because if you follow what I say, this will happen. They're not gonna wanna show you what it looks like prior to it being cleaned. Because prior to the bar, prior to the club, prior to these places being cleaned, it looks crazy. Like at the end of the night, it looks absolutely crazy. This is a mistake that I made. I made this mistake 2 years ago. The most popular nights were Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They wanted me to come in on a Wednesday. I didn't know, even though I've been in this industry for a long time. I wasn't servicing these types of accounts. I went in, I bid on the account based on what I saw, based on the scope of work. They said, listen, we don't need you to worry about the chairs. Matter of fact, we'll put the chairs on the table. We don't need you to worry about the table. We want you to focus on the floor. We want you to focus on the bathroom, so on and so forth. So I went ahead and I created the proposal based on what we talked about and based on what I'm seeing. Like, okay, this really isn't gonna be too bad. Let me tell you something. After that weekend, we had started on, I think it was that Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it was. That place was a madhouse. The bathroom was completely flooded. Like the kitchen, I would never, listen, this is in my home city. I will never, ever, ever eat anything out of this place. It was disgusting. The trash was piled up to the ceiling. I don't know how they're still functioning. I will never go to this place. We worked that account for 1 weekend, and I told the lady, I said, listen, this is not gonna work for us. This is not I didn't prepare my staff for this. I wasn't prepared for this. I went ahead and I ended our agreement. I ended our contract because the amount of work was not sufficient to what I charged. Was that their fault? Was that my fault? That was 100% my fault. And I'm telling you, I'm being honest, I'm being open, I'm telling you it was my fault, so you don't have to make the same mistake that I made. Now, how does that all apply? Listen guys, once we did that, I realized like the bar nightclub scene is not for me. I'm gonna put this scenario in my rear view and I'm just gonna continue to move forward. Since then, of course, business has grown, we've continued to do more and more and more. Do bars and nightclubs still reach out for us to come and service them? Absolutely. Do we do it? No. I have no desire to do any bars or any nightclubs. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I just wanna make sure that you're prepared in case someone does reach out to you. I want you to know exactly what you're walking into, right? So fast forward to today, okay? Current day. I get a call from, it's not a bar, it's not a nightclub, it's a cultural center, but they do host like weddings and they host different things and stuff like that on the weekends, right? So I go ahead, show up, almost same exact situation. I do the walkthrough, everything looks good, really, really nice lady. The place has been around for, a very long time, over 100 years old, right? I go in, we do the walkthrough, everything looks good. Final walkthrough, everything looks good. Guys, I always suggest that you always do 2 walkthroughs. The first one was what I just talked about before. The second walkthrough is when you go through just to double check to make sure we have everything done right. We wanna make sure if there's any alarm codes, we wanna exchange keys. We wanna make sure, are there any deficiencies with any of the locks? Are there certain things that just little small things that we need to know, right? This is the purpose of the second walkthrough. After we do the second walkthrough, I'm riding back home. I'm not going to my office. I'm coming here, I'm coming home. And I think to myself about the bar situation, 2-3 years ago, whenever it was. And I'm just like, damn it, I did it again. I messed up, I did it again. So yesterday was the actual day of the cleaning, guys. I dodged a bullet. It was not bad. Went in, double checked, make sure things were what she said they were, and of course they were. Everything looked great. It wasn't a problem. So we're able to go in and no one's getting cheated, right? We're able to provide the service that they're paying for. We're not getting overworked. They're not getting overcharged. It was just a beautiful situation. But that this current day situation reminded me of the bar club incident that happened all those years ago. And I said, guys, I have to come to you and I have to make this video because I don't want anybody to go out there and be so happy that they're about to get this big account only to find out that they undercharged and they were underprepared for this massive amount of work that comes with bars and nightclubs. Guys, in no way am I, if your business model is based on providing services to bars and nightclubs, go for it. Go 100%. It's very profitable. It's a great niche to be in, and I know that you can do it. But that's just something that's not for us. And if you don't know, if you're you're still trying to figure things out, I definitely wanted to go ahead and share my experience so you don't make the same mistake that I made. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's video. Like I say, in the game of business, spectators are going to watch hustlers get into the game so they can win. Guys, I'm always dropping jewels, but the only way to be in the position to pick them up is you have to like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, my name is Marcus Crockett. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.